Hey guys, this is Benny Ricciardi with rotocurve.com, and I'm here with our DraftKings Week 17 NFL quarterback picks. There are four guys who we're going to be looking at, and they range from all ends of the spectrum. So let's call up the slideshow and talk about the guys who we think are in good spots for this weekend. The four guys we're going to be looking at are Ben Roethlisberger at 6,900, Eli Manning at 5,600, Ryan Fitzpatrick at 5,400, and Matt Ryan at 5,500. Roethlisberger faces a weak Cleveland pass defense this week. His team is slated to score over 28 points, so they're probably looking at about 4 touchdowns, at least a couple of which should come through the air. Pittsburgh needs a win to keep their playoff hopes alive. You got a guy like Roethlisberger who's been averaging 39 pass attempts and over 310 yards per game, and he has dynamic pass catchers on the outside as well as out of the backfield. There's a lot of weapons that he has to use, and we know this is a high-powered offense. So I think Roethlisberger in a must-win game is definitely somebody that we can look at 6,900. The other options we're going to be looking at are a little bit cheap. As you can see here with the Eli Manning face at 5,600, he's going up against a very suspect Eagles defense, so he should have a much easier time this week. He's favored, he's at home, and he's in a high total game, which are all things that we like when we're looking for fantasy quarterbacks. Both teams in this game run a fast-paced offense. That means there's going to be more plays and more opportunities to for them to score fantasy points. Eli has all his weapons back this week, and Beckham really does make life easier on both Eli and the other receivers out there. He draws so much attention that he opens up guys like Will Tye in the middle and makes sure that there's only one-on-one coverage on the other side for guys like Reuben Randall. Both of those guys struggled last week without having Beckham in there to take all the attention away. So even when Beckham doesn't have a big game, that's the kind of impact that he can make on a team defense as he forces opposing defensive coordinators to really kind of game plan around them. The next guy we're going to talk about is another New York quarterback in Ryan Fitzpatrick. The Jets need a win to clinch their playoff berth. Buffalo has been allowing 23 points per game over their last 5 games, and Fitz has been absolutely on fire with 1,500 yards passing and 14 touchdowns in his last 5 games. Decker and Marshall are one of the top wide receiver duos in the league, and they're two guys who get a high volume of the number of targets that come from Fitzpatrick. In that situation, I definitely think that he could have a good game here. We know that teams have been attacking Buffalo through the air, not because their pass defense is so bad, but because their rush defense is so good that you really do need to go to the air. So whether it's Decker and Marshall or a guy like Bilal Powell out of the backfield, I do think the Jets are going to have a pretty pass-heavy game plan in this one. Matt Ryan is the last guy I want to talk about at 5,500. Now, I know a lot of you just cringed and you think I'm crazy, but he's going up against the Saints pass defense this week, and we've seen everybody basically put up huge numbers against the Saints team. So whether it's Kirk Cousins or, Winston or Eli Manning or even some of the better quarterbacks in the league who they faced, everybody's come away with some pretty good fantasy numbers, and now it's Matt Ryan's turn. He's favored at home in the highest total game on the day, so we are expecting to see a lot of points here. And he still has one of the most gifted pass-catching wide receivers and one of the top pass-catching running backs on his team. So he does have some weapons that he can throw to. This game could turn into a shootout with him and Breeze. Even if Breeze doesn't play, I still think New Orleans is going to look to go to the air and try to make this a fast-paced game. So I'm expecting to see a lot of points scored. And at only 5,500, I definitely think that Matt Ryan is somebody who's in a really good position to have a big upside game today. So that wraps it up for the 4 guys who we're looking at this week for our quarterback picks on DraftKings. Good luck, everybody. Thank you guys for joining us throughout the season for all of our NFL information. Make sure to stop into the forums. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them over there for us or to follow us and, leave those questions at RotoCurve on Twitter. And we'll be sure to try to get back to you. But no Thursday game this week. We all get an extra couple days to kind of look this stuff over before we have to make rosters. And like I said, the news flow on a week 17 like this is going to be very important. So you really got to make sure that you get yourself in a spot where you know exactly what's going on, because it could point out some really good fantasy plays. So thank you for joining us here at rotocurve.com. And as always, stay classy, DFS.